Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, My Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today is True Love Tuesday. We are talking about a not so well known Hollywood love success story. We're talking about Enrique and Anna. Before we get started, a very special, very warm welcome to any of those that are new to my channel. I am so incredibly happy that you are here. If you enjoy the content, I do so hope that you will mash that thumbs up button. I hope that you will subscribe if you have not already. And I hope that you will ring my bell, turn on your notifications, so that way, next time I upload a video, you can come right back here and we can hang out together again. Also, my eye makeup is already done today. I did make sure to film a TikTok on today's eye look. Y'all, graphic liner is going to be such a big thing. It is such a big thing right now, and I'm kind of feeling it in a very, very big way. I used the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. This is a super, super old palette, but an absolutely phenomenal one. Love this thing so much. I don't even think that you can get this anymore. I think that it is still available on the Beauty Bay Cosmetics website or Beauty Bay website, but that's about the only place I've seen it. This is such a good one. Speaking of BH Cosmetics, has anybody heard anything from them? They used to be my very, very favorite brand of all time, but then they got purchased by Makeup Revolution, and we just haven't heard a peep from them since. Very, very sad. Of course, I did film a TikTok. I'll have the link for that, as well as all of my other socials, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff in the description box below. Guys, if you are not following me on all my other socials, you definitely should go do that. I post fun content every single day. And if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. All right, babes. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here for True Love Tuesday, I sit here, I do my makeup, and I tell you an epic love story along the way. I don't usually talk too awful much about the makeup that I'm using, but I will make sure to put everything in the description box below. And of course, if you have any questions about what I'm using or how I'm using it, all you have to do is leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Also, if you see me looking over in this direction, it is because I am looking at my notes. We have 10 pages of notes for today's story. I'm thinking, though, that we're going to be able to cruise through it, so we shouldn't be here for too awful long. Either way, go ahead and get you a big old glass of something to drink, get you a glass of sweet tea, a cup of hot coffee, get comfy, get cozy, and let's go ahead and dive in. When it comes to Enrique, we're talking about Enrique Iglesias and Anna Kournikova. Y'all, if you don't remember them as a couple, I do not blame you. They don't get talked about very often at all, and that is by design. They are incredibly private people. I believe that is the reason that their love story has been so successful, is because they just stay away. They stay away from the tabloids. They stay away from the media. They really just keep to themselves. They don't even really post on social media that often. They keep to themselves. They enjoy their life. They live a very normal life, especially for being celebrities. And they just do their own thing. However, I feel like because of that, they get very overlooked when it comes to Hollywood love success stories. Their relationship is an incredibly successful one. They've been together over 2 decades, I think 21, 22 years going on this point. They're not the first couple that pops to mind when you think of true love Hollywood stories. You know what I mean? So I think today's video is going to be both entertaining and a little bit enlightening. So you guys know I like to start off with each half of the whole and then get into their story together. We're going to start off with Mr. Enrique. Y'all, the stuff that I learned about this man, that is my favorite part of True Love Tuesday. I always learn so much new information, things I had no idea about beforehand. This man's childhood was kind of crazy. He was born Enrique Miguel Iglesias Preisler. think I'm pronouncing that correctly, on May 8th, 1975. He was born in Madrid, Spain. And y'all, this man, we all know at this point who Enrique Iglesias is. He's a whole lot of pretty. He is a very, very good looking man. Sings like a freaking, just melts your heart and other things when he just like croons to you. Quite wonderful. I am a very, very big fan of his. He is the third youngest child of Spanish singer Julio Iglesias and Filipina socialite and magazine journalist Isabel Pressler. Now, if you don't know who Enrique's daddy is, Big Daddy. Big Daddy was good looking too. Now, when it comes to Enrique, I believe he came by his talent very, very naturally. Big Daddy, Mr. Julio Iglesias, was, y'all, extremely successful. So he was actually, his father is recognized as being the most commercially successful continental European singer of all time. Like in the world, in the history of the world, like this man, you think of like, if you think of like, take Cher and freaking Barbara Streisand and morph them together and make them Latin, like this is Enrique's daddy. In other words, incredibly successful and stupidly wealthy. Like this man is just like he was the king of Latin music like back in the day. Incredibly attractive, suave, debonair, little bit of a deadbeat daddy though. Now, Enrique was raised with two of his older siblings, and at first they all lived with their mother. However, this is where the crazy part of his childhood kind of comes into play. Because when Enrique was 6 years old, his grandfather was kidnapped. Y'all, this is like something out of a freaking novel. Now, Enrique's grandfather was actually kidnapped by the armed Basque group ETA. Bad people. Definitely don't want to mess with these guys, right? So, of course, Enrique's mother is she's fearful for not only her life, but the life of her children. So she packs them up and she sends them to their father, who not only has the money and the resources to keep them protected, but he's also pretty much on the other side of the world. So Enrique packs himself up. He moves from Spain to freaking Miami, Florida, of all places. So Enrique's mother, she ends up packing Enrique and his older brother, Julio. She packs them up and sends them off to live with their father. Believe she keeps her daughter with her. Believe the daughter might have had a different father. So they pack up and they move to Miami, Florida. And they go stay with their father and his then girlfriend. Enrique's daddy is very much he's like a perpetual bachelor, right? It was a different vibe completely and totally. Now, of course, his father had much better things to do than sit there and worry about raising children. So they were raised mostly by the nanny. And Julio's dad, or Enrique's dad, really didn't have anything to do with them. They, however, were so attached to the nanny, a woman by the name of Elvira Olivares, that Enrique actually ended up dedicating his very first album to this woman. She was more like a mother to him than his mother or his father ever were. Now, also, during this time, Enrique finds out that he was actually born with a very rare congenital defect. And part of this whole defect is that some of his internal organs are in weird places. So the actual definition of it's called situs inversus, and it's a condition where some of the body's major organs, such as the heart, are situated on the opposite side of the body to where they're supposed to be, right? So he's been very lucky and hasn't experienced too awful many complications when it comes to this, but I didn't even know that was a thing. So you learn something new every single day. When it comes to Enrique's career, y'all, this man he was pretty much what do they call that? He was a legacy, because his daddy was the most famous of all of the famous, right? A literal king when it came to Latin music. And it was pretty much the minute Enrique found out that he could sing and he sounded nice while doing it, pretty much knew he was going to be famous. So he jumps into the music scene. It comes fairly easily and naturally to him. Y'all, this man is very, very talented. Now, he got it big over here just a little bit, but y'all, nothing compared to the success that he has found in Europe and Spain. He is, like, his star shines so very bright over there. So much so that he actually became the best-selling Spanish language musician of his decade, right? By the turn of the millennium, he had made a successful crossover into the mainstream English-speaking market. By then, he had signed a multi-million-dollar deal, y'all. So multiple albums. He signs this paycheck, right? This paycheck comes out to $68 million freaking dollars. This man is never going to have to worry about money again for the rest of his life. Not that he really had to in the first place, because daddy is absolutely loaded. But he went out and he made his own money. He went on to become one of the best-selling Latin music artists of all time, with estimated sales of over 70 million. He holds the record for the most #1 songs on the Billboard Hot Latin Songs chart with 27 songs. So not only is he incredibly talented, rich, successful, but he's also a world record holder. Like, this man, it's just, being exemplary just comes naturally to him, apparently. It's easy. It's too easy, sir. In October of 2022, he was honored with the Top Latin Artist of All Time award at the Latin Billboard Awards. Now, of course, when it comes to this man's dating life and dating history, he's actually, of course, he's like a ladies' man, right? He is incredibly attractive. Women just flock to him in droves. He has never had a problem dealing with the fair sex. Surprisingly, I only found 6 real kind of semi-attachments before he met Anna. So it seems to me that, first of all, he's incredibly private. So he keeps his private life private, does not kiss and tell. Really appreciate that. However, it makes it very difficult to do things like this because you never know what's true and what's not. However, I found 6 different ladies that have been linked to him throughout the years. No real relationships, though. It seems to me like he just kind of hopped around from one lady to the next. I think he was really looking for his soulmate. He just kind of like, I'm not sure. He definitely wasn't going to commit to someone unless he was really ready to commit, unless that person was worthy of his commitment. So he just kind of like, he had very short, brief flings with a couple of different ladies, but when he found Anna, it was just like, it was over and done with. So in 1997, it was rumored that Enrique and the one, the only, Sofia Vergara had a little bit of a fling. Now, of course, this was never substantiated. Neither party ever confirmed nor denied. However, they were pictured together a few times. Now, Sofia was just a few years older than Enrique, is just a few years older than Enrique. But y'all, could you imagine if they had actually stayed together, how beautiful that baby would have been? Now, after he gets out of this fling with Miss Vergara, a few months later, of course, he's kind of like in the peak of his career at this time, and he ends up going on tour. And he goes on tour with, you know, none other than Miss Christina Aguilera. And she is hot stuff at this point in time. Like, she is like, she is it. She's the it girl. So he is going on tour with her. He's kind of opening for her, warming up the crowd, that kind of thing. And of course, when, you know, in any kind of situation, when you're working in that close of proximity with somebody that attractive, of course, things are going to happen. And during the tour, it was rumored that they were just kind of hooking up. It was never intended to be anything serious or anything long-term. They were just enjoying each other's company while they were together. As soon as the tour was over, so was their relationship. Now, if there's one thing throughout this entire journey that I have learned about Enrique, is that this man is just about as non-committal as a person can be. He kind of deflects with humor. He uses humor as a little bit of almost like armor. He turns everything into a joke, and really just, he never says yes, but he never says no either. He just lets himself be very mysterious, which of course just makes us want more and more and more. So his next relationship was with America's sweetheart, Miss Jennifer Love Hewitt. And y'all, I had no freaking idea that they were a thing. Now, this one is the closest the first relationship that were actually positive happened. Now, of course, never confirmed nor denied. They were rehearsing for the 2001 Grammy Awards, and they connected. They connected. That instant attraction was there. Of course, they're both young. They're both beautiful. Why not? So they jump into a little bit of a fling. And this was the first time that Enrique was just like, I think he really, really liked her. It was a very brief, very short fling. Jennifer, of course, went on to do her own thing. However, their relationship just absolutely sparked so much drama. Everybody was so interested about that pairing because it just seems a little bit unexpected, right? You have Jennifer Love, who is out. She's got nothing to do with music. She's just this super sweet, kind of like shy, kind of and then you have this super suave, super sexy Mr. Enrique, and they were so contrasty that the pairing was just absolutely delicious. Now, of course, Enrique is not looking to be tied down to anyone at this point, so he keeps things very short and very sweet. His next little romance was with actress, comedian Ciate Kirchner a little bit later in 2001. So his fling with Jennifer Love only lasted just a couple of months. Then he moves on to Miss Cynthia, and again, it lasts just a couple of months. I find that, but I think how I feel about the situation is that Enrique was probably incredibly easy to fall in love with, and he would get into these relationships with these women, and as soon as they would start to get just a little bit serious, he kind of checked out. He was like, deuces, thanks, I had a great time, see you never, right? So he just kind of keeps jumping. He keeps hopping from one lady to the next, never staying anywhere for very long, and definitely never settling down. However, his next relationship, I think, kind of got him in the mood for something just a little bit more. So after Cynthia, he started dating model Yamila Diaz. Now, she was an Argentinian model. She was incredible in her own right. She was actually the first Latin American woman to be featured on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, making absolute history at that point, right? So when she teams up with Mr. Enrique, I mean, it's a very dynamic, very powerful kind of duo. Also, I think her Latin spice mixed with his fiery Latin flair as well, and they were just kind of a match made in heaven. Now, they stayed together definitely longer than any of his previous relationships. However, it still wasn't very long. I think maybe 6 months tops. Again, there are no definitive dates or anything like that because nothing has ever been really confirmed or denied. But at this point, I feel like this is when he is deciding that he's kind of ready for something just a little bit more serious. And though it doesn't happen with Yamila at this point, he's definitely looking for more. Now, Yamila was his very last kind of fling before he met Anna. But before that, however, he got into a little bit of a scandal. Now, I absolutely combed the archives looking for any dirt I could find on Mr. Enrique. And y'all, somehow this man is freaking squeaky clean. There really isn't anything, there's really nothing bad out there about him. He's a super nice guy. There's no cheating rumors. There's nothing like that. The only thing I could find was there was an Irish socialite, a woman named Emma Kearney. Now, Emma went to the tabloids with a story about how her and Enrique had met up at his hotel one night. They had a one-night stand, and he basically just dumped her the next day. This happened in 2004, and I think it could be true. It could not be true. Either way, one-night stands happen all the time. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm not exactly certain why she thought she needed to go to the tabloids about it. I guess it was gossip. It was juicy gossip, and everybody was infatuated with Enrique at this point in time. So I guess they just wanted any and all information about him that they could get. And Emma saw this as a quick way to get her 15 minutes of fame. However, she didn't stop while she was ahead, and she continued to make the same accusations about multiple other male celebrities. And by that time, people were just kind of over it. They deduced that she was probably making it all up, and she just kind of fell to the wayside. But that was literally the only scandal. And it's not even really a scandal, so he hooked up with you. I mean, that's what people do, whether you're a celebrity or not. People hook up all the time. One-night stands are not a rare occurrence. So right after that is when he meets Anna. Well, before that, because that happened in 2004 and he met Anna in 2001. So this really did cause quite a bit of a stir because he and Anna had been together for a couple of years at that point. Almost ruined his relationship. Of course, Anna is much, much smarter than that and never believed it anyway. But Miss Emma Kearney, she tried. Now, of course, Anna would go on to become Enrique's very first and very last official girlfriend. I think it's so funny how all that worked out. Now, when it comes to Miss Anna Kournikova, y'all, she is just as spectacular in her own right. She was born Anna Sergeyevna Kournikova. I'm absolutely butchering that middle name. I am very, very sorry. She was born on June 7th, 1981. She is 6 years younger than Mr. Enrique. Now, I find that a 6-year age gap is kind of perfect. You have that 6 years so that the man can kind of mature just a little bit. So then they're kind of on an even playing field there. I think 6 years is very, very acceptable. Now, she is a former professional tennis player and TV personality as well. She's made a couple of cameos in even some films, things like that. We'll get into that in just a minute. But an incredible, incredible athlete. She was born in Moscow, Russia. Her father, Sergey Kournikova, was a Greco-Roman wrestling champion, and eventually he went on to earn his PhD, then became a professor at the University of Physical Culture and Sport in Moscow. Actually, as of 2001, he was still a part-time martial arts instructor at the school. So obviously she comes from a family that really values physical activity, values physical prowess, right? Not only is her father incredibly gifted and an incredible athlete as well, but her mother was actually a competitive runner, and then her younger half-brother, Alan, is a youth golf world champion. So just physical excellence across the board. Her young life really centered around physical activity. Now, her parents never pushed her into competing. They never pushed her into sports, things like that. But it just kind of like ran in her blood a little bit. She had a ton of energy when she was a child, and they chose sports as a way to, one, keep her out of trouble, but also keep her out of their hair just a little bit. She received her first tennis racket as a New Year's gift when she was, I believe, 5 years old, and just started playing. Nothing really special about it. She didn't really show any real talent or didn't really exhibit her gift at that point in time. However, she picked up the racket, started to play with it, started to learn the game a little bit. 2 years later, at the age of 7, is when her talent really started to show its face just a little bit. Now, at the age of 7 is when her father really started to notice that she was actually very, very gifted, and that's when he put her into training programs. Her father really kind of took the lead when it came to her early physical development, I guess, and he put her into tennis clubs. He always made it fun, though. It was never an obligation. It was never a chore. He just wanted his daughter to enjoy the game. He wanted her to enjoy what she was doing, and the fact that she was good at it was really just a bonus. And y'all, the minute she started getting some real professional training, things like that, her talent just bloomed. It blossomed, and y'all, the rest is pretty much history. By age 8 in 1989, she began competing in junior tournaments, and this is when they really started measuring her skill against other players of her same age group and really found out that she was quite gifted. She started winning tournaments right out of the gate. By the following year, she was attracting attention from tennis scouts across the world. Now, she signed her first management deal at the age of 10 years old. Y'all, absolute, almost like a tennis savant a little bit. Then at the age of 14, she won the European Championships and then the Italian Open Junior tournaments in December of 1995. She became the youngest person to win the 18 and under division of the Junior Orange Bowl. And then by the end of the year, she was crowned the ITF Junior World Champion. So just really exemplary. Y'all, despite her never winning a singles competition or a singles tournament, she absolutely dominated in the doubles division. Y'all, she actually went on to be ranked as the #1 doubles tennis player in the world multiple times. She's extraordinary. She's extraordinary in and of her own right. Now, Anna retired professional tennis in 2003 due to some severe, debilitating back problems. She actually suffered with some spinal issues. She had herniated discs, things like that. She's just been really, really rough on her body for a very long time. And it basically told her it was time to take a chill pill and relax just a little bit. Now, when it comes to Anna's dating history, she definitely was not interested in short-term hookup situations. She wanted to be in a relationship. She wanted somebody, she wanted a person. She wanted somebody that belonged to her. And unfortunately, the people that she was surrounded with or surrounded by were athletes and kind of like brozos just a little bit. And until she met Enrique, she never did quite find that person that was really worth committing to. So Anna and fellow Russian athlete Sergei Fedorov began dating in 1997 when Anna was just around 16, 17 years old. They bonded over their shared love of sports as well as their similar cultural backgrounds. They were both from pretty much the same place. They were both in sports, just had a ton in common. They kept their relationship fairly low profile. That is, until Sergei made headlines when he claimed in 2003 that he and Anna had been married briefly in 2001. Now, again, 2001 is the year that she met Enrique, so this just is not true at all. And on her part, Anna, she completely and totally staunchly denied any of this. Sergei, however, was very, very insistent that it had happened. However, by that time he had kind of fallen out of relevance in the sports arena, so I think he was just looking for a little bit of light to shine on him, and there really wasn't any substance to the actual rumor. Now, they were rumored to have gotten engaged as well. There seemed to be a lot of engagement and marriage rumors surrounding Anna. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure if men were just very, very eager to stake a claim on her. She was very well known as being one of the most beautiful female tennis players of all time. She is incredibly beautiful. So I can definitely understand somebody wanting to say, oh, I got with that just a little bit. I was with her, it's a little bit of an ego boost. However, again, unsubstantiated, untrue, just kind of tabloid fodder. Next up, she hooked up with Russian hockey player Pavel Bure. Not sure how to say his last name. But they were first linked in 1999 after they were spotted out together at a Florida Panthers game. And her relationship, even though they were pretty close, the relationship seemed to be going okay. The two of them didn't really click, and they ended up kind of separating, going their own separate ways. Now, Anna's very last relationship before she met Mr. Enrique was with a man by the name of Mark Philippus. I'll put the name up on the screen. Cannot say it. I'm not even going to attempt it. They had a very short relationship in 2001, right before she met Mr. Enrique. He is an Australian tennis player, very, very attractive, very handsome, actually a very, very nice guy as well. They got along splendidly. Their relationship was wonderful But they found that along with, it was a long distance relationship, they had hectic schedules. It just wrong place, wrong time, that kind of thing. And they found that they were much better friends than they were lovers. And of course, they ended up splitting. However, they continue to be friends and they continue to support each other's career even to this day. And then, of course, after that, she meets Mr. Enrique, and the rest is true love history. Now, we all know that celebrity cameos in music videos, things like that, it's not a new concept. It's been happening since celebrities became an actual thing. However, it's not very often that they result in a 2-decade-long love affair, right? Usually, if anything, it results in a very brief fling, maybe a short hookup, and that's about it. I just think it is so fantastic that what started out as a work obligation for Anna became Enrique's entire future. Now, at this point in time, Enrique is known as pretty much the king of Latin pop. And then you have Miss Anna Kournikova, who is the princess of tennis. She is, widely accepted as one of tennis's most beautiful women, definitely in the top 10. And I just think all in all, the pairing of the two just seems so unexpected. I feel like they both came from very, very different worlds. You have Anna, who is from Russia. You have Enrique, who is from Spain. They're just two very different people with two very different personalities, yet somehow they came together and it was magic. Absolutely nobody thought that they were going to last. Absolutely nobody thought that this was going to be any kind of real, long-lasting anything, really. And for the last 21, 22 years, they have been having an absolute blast, proving everybody wrong. So Enrique and Anna met in December of 2001. Now, the whole purpose of their meeting was so that Anna could bring a little bit of hype to Enrique's most recent music video. At the time, he had just gotten done recording Escape, and it was the lead single off of his new album. And they just wanted it to be good, right? So they wanted to create a ton of hype behind the music video, and they figured one of the easiest ways to do that was to get a celebrity cameo. And at this point, especially at this time in music videos, I think it was very, very common for celebrities to make guest appearances, small cameos in different music videos. And the whole premise for the Escape music video was that basically Enrique was chasing this woman throughout the entire video, saying, you can't escape my love, basically. You can run, but you can't hide. And she's like playing coy and all of these things. And the whole music video is super steamy and of course sexy, and y'all, it was inevitable, really. Now, prior to them meeting to film this music video, they hadn't met before. They hadn't spoken. They hadn't even crossed paths. There was no connection here at all whatsoever. And of course, Enrique, he's doing press for the music video before they start filming, trying to hype it up. And he does an interview and he says, I've never met her before, but I'm a big fan. I'm sure a lot of guys want to meet her. I'm one of them. She's beautiful, talented, a great tennis player, and I'm sure she's going to be great in the video. Little did this man know that she was going to absolutely rock his freaking world. Y'all, within hours of them meeting for the very, very first time, they are on set in front of an entire production crew of people, and their sole purpose of the day is to make out. Not only are they going to make out, but they've got to make it look real, and they've got to make it look good. Y'all, this entire video is nothing but Mr. Enrique laying on top of Anna, just making us all wish and pray that we were in her shoes. They made out in a club bathroom. They're making out in a concert hall. They're in a car all laid up together. Y'all, super, super steamy. And then on top of that, they're surrounded by You know, of course, perfect mood lighting. And then, of course, they've got this song playing in the background, and it's incredibly romantic. I think it's possible I might have used too much concealer. Anyway, this entire music video is nothing but a setup. It was a setup from the very conception of it. Y'all, of course, with, you know, by the end of the first day of shooting, they were pretty much obsessed with each other. Their chemistry was intense and it was immediate. And I feel like the whole music video was a perfect storm. On top of the fact that they were both finally at the point where they were ready to settle down, they were ready to meet an actual partner, and kind of just done with the flings and the short affairs. And I think it's a classic example of right place, right time, and they just connected. They just got each other, right? You could cut the sexual tension on set with a freaking spoon. But while the physical attraction was instant and intense, it was the more emotional and mental connection that they experienced with each other over the course of the days that followed that really ended up sealing the deal when it came to them starting an actual relationship. Physical attraction is incredibly important. It's not enough, however, to build a life around. It's not enough to build a relationship around. And, you know, at this point, both Enrique and Anna, they know this. They've been there, they've done that, they've experienced the intense physical attraction, and all of their other relationships have kind of fizzled out and died, right? So they take the time during the course of filming this music video to really talk to each other, right? They get to know each other, and as much as they were from different worlds, somehow the more they spoke and the more time they spent together, they began to connect on so many different levels that it just made sense. It just made sense for them to start a relationship. The connection was strong enough between the two of them that they thought that a relationship would actually work. Little by little, and the more time they spent together, the more sure they were that this was what they wanted to do. And of course, by the time filming wrapped for the music video, they were a couple. Now, in the beginning, they kept their relationship very, very hush-hush. I think they were still just feeling each other out and really trying to make sure that they were certain about their relationship and their standing in each other's life before they really came out publicly about their relationship. On top of that, I really just think they were enjoying being together. We all know what new love is like, and it's overwhelming and it's intoxicating, and especially when there is that level of intense animal attraction. Y'all, I am sure without a shadow of a doubt that they had much, much better things to be doing than sitting there going to the tabloids saying, look at us, we're together now. Right? I think, quite honestly, they fell in love almost instantly, and they just wanted to bask in the glory that was their new relationship before they let anybody else in, and it got muddled just a little bit. So they dated for almost a year, a little bit over a year, before they eventually came out and made their relationship official. Now, this is such a giant deal, especially from Enrique's point of view, because this is the first time he's ever done that. This is the first time he has ever confirmed a relationship. Now, he's let the tabloids kind of speculate and come to their own conclusions, but never before has Enrique come out and simply stated, this is my girlfriend, we're together. He has always had that air of mystery and attainability, right? Which I think was part of his brand as well. He wanted to appear single because, you know, a lot of his fan base was women who absolutely fawned over him, right? And a little bit of that appeal goes away when you find out that he's in a committed relationship. However, They walked the red carpet. They actually ended up attending the MTV Music Video Awards in 2002, August of 2002. And he shows up with Anna. They walk the red carpet together. They look absolutely smitten with each other. They are arm in arm. And you can just tell by the way that they're looking at each other that, like, this was something special. This was something serious. And of course, absolutely instantly, the tabloids, the media went absolutely freaking bazonkers about the fact that he was actually spotted out with somebody and that he was actually claiming to be in a relationship. And this started a media frenzy, the likes of which Hollywood had never seen before. To make things even a million times better, that night, Enrique was actually nominated for 5 different awards, including Best Male Video for Hero. Do y'all remember Hero? I can be your hero, baby. Oh my good gravy. That is the song that I equate with Mr. Enrique. Good gravy. In that video, he just croons to you. It just makes you want to sit there and bat your eyelashes. Such a pretty man. Now, after that first public outing, they go back into incognito mode, right? So they've done their job, basically. They've admitted that they're together. They've admitted to being in a committed relationship. But that's about as far as they're willing to go. Now, they're still pretty much in the early stages of their relationship. They've been together for a year at this point, but still, they're both incredibly busy. They have their own things going on. So out of that year, it's kind of like they're not living together yet, things like that. So they're still very much in the dating phase of the relationship. At the time, Enrique was pretty much at the height of his fame. He is touring, he's making new music. Anna is still very much actively competing and playing in tournaments, things like that. So they both have their own lives and they don't really focus on the relationship, right? They still want the focus of the attention and the media to be on their own separate achievements. They don't want the relationship to overshadow their individual accomplishments, and I can completely understand that. So they refuse to talk about their relationship in public, and I think it's super smart. And because they refuse to speak about the relationship in public, not that people forget about it, but it doesn't become the first thing they think about when they talk about themselves, right? So they're both still able to highlight what they want to highlight, and because they're both doing such great things in their careers, the relationship gets to be something that they can keep special and just for themselves. That was until 2003 when Anna decided that it was time to retire. And not so much Anna decided it was time to retire, but her body told her that it just couldn't do it anymore. She had been suffering with some severe pain for a while by this point, and it just got to be the pain level just got to be something that she just couldn't ignore anymore. And, also it was affecting the way that she was playing, things like that. So she decided to bow out gracefully and, retire while she was still pretty much at the top of her game. So after Anna retires, she kind of dabbles into a little bit of hosting, doing some more cameos, things like that. She made a cameo in Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey. Like I said, y'all, always big town, small world, that kind of thing. Everybody absolutely knows everybody, and everybody is freaking connected. So she has a small cameo in Me, Myself, and Irene. She ends up hosting, I think, 1 or 2 seasons of The Biggest Loser as well. But ultimately, she decides that she's done. She's just done being in the limelight. She doesn't really care about being famous anymore. And she just kind of takes a step back and starts to focus on her relationship. Now, also, right before she had decided to retire fully, marriage rumors had started to swirl just a little bit. Now, at one of her very last games, she was spotted wearing this absolutely ginormous pink diamond ring, and everybody immediately thought that this was an engagement ring, that it was bought for her by Enrique, things like that. And of course, people jump into conclusions they want it to happen, so they assume that it has. And of course, this wasn't true at all. I think Enrique and Anna were very smart when it came to this, because they just let people talk. They didn't say anything. They neither confirmed nor denied. They were basically just like, okay, yeah, you can talk. You can say whatever you want to say. It wasn't until the media started to get a little bit carried away with the rumors. They were starting to say that they had run away and eloped. They had run off to Mexico and gotten engaged or gotten married in a very private, secret ceremony, things like that. They were starting to, the gossip rags, they were starting to print some pretty atrocious stuff about them. So at that point, Anna and Enrique both had to come out and put out a statement saying that no, they were never engaged. They were certainly not married, but they were still together and still enjoying their relationship. Now, after Anna retires from tennis, she starts to dabble in TV just a little bit. At this point, they're living together. They are officially together, and they've been together for a while at this point. Nothing new had really happened. There had been no new developments in their relationship. The marriage rumors had already swirled and been put to rest. So the media and the newspapers, the magazines, kind of forgot about them for just a little bit. And they were able to really enjoy a very peaceful and very quiet time in their relationship, just focusing on each other and focusing on, just building a life together, right? Until, however, Mr. Enrique. Y'all, this man he definitely enjoys a little bit of a warped sense of humor, and he working on a new album, and in order to promote said album, he was out and doing interviews. Well, he ended up sitting down for an interview with a Swedish newspaper and made possibly one of the worst jokes ever. He, of course, was asked about his relationship with Anna and if there was any truth behind the marriage rumors or the engagement rumors. And, I can understand why he might have said what he said, because I'm sure after a while, hearing everybody ask you the same questions over and over, it's got to get tiresome at some point, right? So instead of him answering it the same way that he has answered it 1,000,001 different times, he actually goes on to say that yes, indeed, the rumors were true. They had gotten married. Unfortunately, it hadn't worked out. They had gotten married in a secret ceremony. They had kept their marriage very hush-hush, very private. Unfortunately, the marriage hadn't worked out, and they were already divorced. He went on to say, quote, "I am single now, but that's okay. I don't mind being alone," right? Y'all, this clearly was a joke. I mean, to Enrique, it was clearly a joke. However, there was definitely something lost in translation, and the interviewer took it as fact and actually ended up publishing it, right? So he publishes it in this Swedish newspaper, and word travels fast, especially when the gossip is juicy. And by the time Enrique wakes up the next morning, it's like the sky is falling, it's fallen a flood, right? So he wakes up to absolute panic among his fans. They're like, how could you and Anna not be together anymore? This, that, and the other thing. And at this point, Enrique realizes that he might have messed up just a little bit. Their fans were absolutely devastated, and word gets back to Anna. People are asking her, how could you lie to us? Why didn't you tell us you were married? Why didn't you tell us you were going through a divorce? This, that, and the other thing. And it genuinely becomes quite a gigantic kerfuffle, quite honestly. And then, of course, they have to come together and they have to release another joint statement saying that it was just a joke. Enrique, he had to apologize for his bad sense of humor, and of course had to set the record straight that no, they were not ever married, they were not engaged, but they were still together and still going strong. Now, all jokes aside, even though they have been together in a committed monogamous relationship for over 21 years at this point, they still have never been married. They've never been engaged, and people really are so curious about why. Like, there's got to be a problem, right? Because especially in this society, we're all raised to think that the goal, the whole entire purpose is to grow up, get married, have babies, and, that's what you're supposed to do. However, this is just not what Miss Anna had in mind. She just wasn't interested. And the whole not being married thing was definitely Anna's prerogative. Like, it was her choice, her decision. And she is the reason that they've never been married. I know a lot of people would assume that it was Enrique's decision, because usually whether a couple gets married or not very much depends on the man's willingness to propose. However, Enrique has actually proposed to Anna multiple times. Every time he proposes, she just kind of looks at him like he's lost his absolute ever-loving mind. She kind of just doesn't pay him any attention at all. And the reason is she just has no desire to be married. Basically, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Their life together is absolutely wonderful. It's just wonderful the way that it is. And she sees no reason to go and change it because society thinks that that's what they should do. She's actually been quoted in multiple different interviews as saying that she never wants to get married. It's not something she ever desired. It wasn't something that she grew up really wanting or looking forward to. And as long as she is in a healthy, committed relationship and she feels supported and loved, that's all she needs. Now, for Enrique's part, he says, I've never really thought it would make a difference if we were married or not. Maybe it's because I come from divorced parents, but I don't think you love someone more just because of a piece of paper. Nowadays, it's not taboo to have kids and not be married. What makes a difference is that you are devoted to each other and that you're good parents, period. And I think he's absolutely correct. I feel like if you don't want to get married, I feel like you shouldn't pressure yourself to do so. I feel like marriage is such an intense commitment, and quite often marriage ruins a relationship, especially in these higher profile celebrity couples. It seems like once they get married, it absolutely destroys things. And I think also another way to look at it is that I think when you marry someone, it takes away your choice, right? So when you're in a boyfriend, girlfriend type of relationship, you wake up every single day and you choose to be with that person. You choose to be in that relationship. And I feel like once you get married and you make it a legal binding, you sign that legal binding contract and you tie yourselves together legally and in the eyes of the state, I feel like it becomes less of a choice and it becomes more of an institution, right? Because marriage definitely is an institution, right? So I feel like some people can maybe start to feel a tiny bit trapped once that choice is kind of taken away. And especially when you have these celebrities who are very, very creative people, they're very free people, not used to being told what to do very much at all. When you take away that choice, it's like fight or flight kind of kicks in and everything just ends up crumbling. So I feel like they're very, very smart to kind of resist the status quo and just kind of do their own thing. I think it's brave. I think it's smart. And if it works for them, like, good for you. Now, while Anna was completely fine about never getting married, she definitely wanted to be a mother. That was something she was not willing to compromise on. And she said in an interview, she said, I'm fine never getting married. I'm fine being a girlfriend for the rest of my life. However, I absolutely want children. She said, I absolutely want to have children, whether I have my own or adopt. I just adore taking care of people. And I think a lot of that also comes from her culture as well. Russians are very family oriented. Just like the whole mothering thing is such a big thing in that culture and in so many different cultures. While she was fine missing out on the whole marriage thing, not really missing out, but passing on the whole marriage thing, the children thing was not something she was willing to compromise on at all. And luckily for her, Enrique felt very much the same way. Enrique came from a pretty large family himself. He had quite a few brothers and sisters, things like that. Pretty large extended family. He wanted to provide the same thing for, his wife. He wanted to have kids, things like that. And in April 2014, Enrique dropped a bombshell when he revealed that as big as his extended family was, Anna had never met his father. And I think part of this is due to the fact that Enrique is not very close with his father at all. Like I said, Julio was pretty much an absent parent. He was kind of a deadbeat daddy in the sense that while he provided monetarily for his children, he wasn't there emotionally. He wasn't there to support his children. He did not provide his time. And because of that, like I said, I just don't think he's got a super close relationship with his father. Now, they're not estranged from each other in any way. It's just not a super close kind of relationship. And because of that, I don't think him meeting Anna was ever a giant priority. I don't think that Enrique getting his father's approval on his life partner was something that really mattered to him at all. And then in December of 2017, Anna and Enrique's dreams of becoming parents finally became a reality. Anna was 36 at this point, and Enrique was 42 when they became first-time parents to their twins, Nicholas and Lucy. He said it was incredibly overwhelming at first, especially because becoming first-time parents, they're not dealing with just one baby, but two. But, of course, Anna took to motherhood like a fish to water. It was something she felt like she was born to do, and it just felt incredibly fulfilling to her. Like y'all, and they waited such a long time. They had been together at this point for like 15 or like 13 or 14, 15 years. Very, very long time. So they really took their time, really got to know each other. Also, I think it's incredibly smart because at 13, 14 years, like they're not going anywhere. Like, if they haven't busted at this point, and if they haven't jumped ship by this point, like, they're going to be together for absolutely freaking forever. So they waited until they were incredibly sure of each other before they brought children into the world, which I absolutely love. But while Enrique was ecstatic to be a new parent, he was also very, very worried about it because, again, he was getting a little bit older at this point in time. And while he still felt young, he didn't want to fail, right? We all have that fear of failing. We don't want to fail our children. We don't want to fail ourselves. But he said the encouragement that he received from his wife and just watching her become the extraordinary mother that she is, it reaffirmed for him that every choice he had made up to that point was exactly the right choice. Like, it reaffirmed to him that he was exactly at the spot in his life where he was supposed to be. It was such a beautiful thing. Like, his quote is, "It's incredible to watch her become such a great mother. It's perfect in a way." And that's basically what his life was at that point. It's what Anna's life was at that point. They're just perfect. Absolutely everything they had ever desired was right there. Y'all, they loved parenting so very much that just a few years later, in January of 2022, they welcomed the third addition to their family, another little girl named Mary. And while their relationship has by no means been perfect, it's been close enough. They make sure to keep their problems private. They keep themselves off of social media. Enrique really doesn't have a social media presence at all. Anna does, but she posts very, very rarely. They make sure to keep their children off of social media for the most part. She does sometimes post some really adorable pictures of her children. She posts some pictures of Enrique in very tender moments with their children as well. But for the most part, they just keep to themselves. Somehow, some way, they have managed to carve out an incredibly normal slice of life out of a very hectic and chaotic world. They stayed true to themselves, didn't really give in to the pressures of the world, kind of fall in step with the status quo. I think they're fantastic. The fact that they are such a successful couple and yet nobody talks about them is a win in and of itself. Now, as for their careers and what they're doing now, at the moment, Anna is 42, Enrique is 48. Anna, she basically has retired. She stays at home. She focuses on her babies and her husband and her home. She doesn't really do any TV or anything like that. She still dabbles in tennis, but definitely doesn't play professionally or compete anymore. As for Enrique and his music career, I think in September of 2021, he released his latest album. It's called Final Volume 1, and he's kind of hinted that it is going to be his final album, and after this, he's done. Y'all, I think he's honestly just ready. I mean, he's almost 50. He's 48. Y'all, he's almost 50 years old. He's ready to retire. He's ready to sit back and enjoy the life that he's built with Anna and just enjoy their children, enjoy being a dad, and enjoy the fruits of his labor. Guys, that is it for this week's True Love Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is today's finished look. What do we think? Do we like it? Do we love it? Let me know in the comments below. I will, of course, be posting finished pictures over on Instagram and Facebook. Guys, again, if you did enjoy today's video, please give it a big old thumbs up before you leave. Y'all, I love you so very much. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. It is my favorite part of the day when I get to come and sit down and talk to you guys. As always, no filters, no fancy lighting. It is just me sitting in front of my camera telling you guys an epic love story, hoping you're enjoying what I'm doing. And until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.